Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be giving my suggestions on how to fix what I think is the most useless status effect in Path of Titans. Anyway, if you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe, and you there, enjoy the video. To start off with, let's discuss which status effect I'm actually going to be suggesting fixes for. Now, in the intro, I said worst, which probably left some thinking that I was talking about Venom. But I'm not. Because Venom, although it's bad as well as Fracture, they're not the best. They're not the worst effects in the game. Because the effect I'm going to be talking about is Poison, which, oh boy, Poison is undoubtedly the worst, weakest, and most useless effect in the entire game. Like, for those of you who don't know, Poison is a status effect that only one dinosaur in the game has. Only one dinosaur has it, and it's Metriacanthosaurus. And the effect reduces your health regeneration outside of combat. That is all it does. It does nothing else. And to make it even better, Metri can only apply this effect when it gets bitten. So it can't even like attack you and apply it. It has to be bitten on its body for it to apply the effect, which is then useless because it's awful. Just because Metri has no stalling capability. So the way stalling works in Path of Titans is you do some sort of way to keep them in combat, or find out a way where you heal quicker than the opponent does. That's what stalling is, basically. Because you get to heal your health back up, and they don't, or they do it less. Now, Metri's poison is good at that, because, like, your opponent will heal slower than you, but it's 20% slower. It's not an insane amount. And let's say your hunger is low, and their hunger is high, you're going to be healing slow anyway. So even with the poison, it does nothing. It is literally useless. Unless you've got the perfect scenario of where their hunger and your hunger is the same, so you're healing at your normal rate, but they're healing slower. Other than that, it's useless. Because by the time you've healed enough to go back in, they've also healed a good chunk of their health. And honestly, I would say this is probably the worst strategy in Path of Titans. Like, it is just awful. And even just to make it even worse, Metri has the weakest attacks in the game. It literally bites for less damage than Camptosaurus. And I know it's got higher combat weight than Campto, but still, it's stupid. And this is probably the longest way you will kill something in Path of Titans, because normally you just bleed them or raw damage. Raw damage is the quickest, but then you've got bleed, which is it can take forever, but bleed still is a lot quicker than this poison tactic, just because of how slow you heal. Now I know Metri has its voice calls and everything, but every 10 minutes you get to self heal. No, that's just not good. And anyway, so now that you understand why it's the worst effect, I can get into fixing it. So, to explain it or to fix it and make it effective, I wanted to make it balanced but also different from Bleed and Venom, because they're very similar to each other, and I feel like if I made them different, it would also be better. But this wasn't easy, because in order to make it different, I had to make it do different things, but then in order to make it balanced, I had to find a way of balancing it, you know? And I think, hopefully, I've got a good way of balancing it. So, I introduce to you my Poison 2.0. Now, this effect works in stages, and Metriacanthosaurus gets a bit of an upgrade to its reflective poison hide. So, the Metri must be within 30 meters of a playable, so that's... I don't know how big 30 meters is, but it's not a lot. So you must be within 30 meters of the playable affected in order for it to take effect. So once you leave 30 meters, the effect is gone, and they get a 5-minute immunity. But so we'll get into that. But anyway, so stage 1, because I wanted this to work in stages, and this is the first stage. So stage 1, when hit with an attack from the head slot or the generic slot, so that's bites, grabs, charge bites, quick bites, heavy bites, all the bites, every every bite and generic slot attack. So, like T-Rex's grab is in a generic slot, so is Hatz's. They will both, also give you the effect. But basically, any head slot or generic slot, so I just listed those, the dino biting them will gain poisoned as a debuff. Now, it's not named poisoned, it's named poison, because poison will start off weak, causing 5% less movement speed, so, that's the walking but slower. So you get 5% less movement speed and 7.5% faster hunger drain. And this effect will last for a minute, and it can be healed away in 2 ways. So you can heal it by either drinking or sitting in the hot springs water. There's also one at Hunter's Thicket, I think. Yes. So you can use both of those to heal. You can also, if your hunger is above 75% once the minute has ended, you will not get the effect and you'll become immune for the 5 minutes. However, if you do not heal it off, you enter stage 2, where the effect will change from poisoned to poisoned, and this new effect will decrease your senses, making you easier to tire, making sounds around you quieter, so like roars from dinosaurs, critters, the environment as well, because you can hear like the wind blowing, water, trees, all that. All of that will be quieter. I don't know how that would work in coding, but I'm sure Alderon could figure it out. But basically, once you hit stage 2, you basically can't hear as well, and you also get an increase on your cooldowns because you're tired, it takes a lot more effort to do anything, and the effect can no longer be healed unless you use the healing water. So even if your hunger is up, you cannot heal it off unless you're at hot springs. And this also lasts for a full minute. That's 2 minutes, and after that, we enter stage 3. Good old number 3. So, this is the third and final stage. Poison changes into sickness, so the effect will change again into sickness, and this new effect cannot be healed at all. Once you have it, you are stuck with it. Unless you move 30 meters or more away from the player you bit. So, let's say I bit a Metri, and then I did a little bit of walking, and the Metri was sitting because I did a lot of damage or something. Let's say I managed to get 30 meters away, I no longer have the effect. It's completely gone. So, that's the only way to get rid of it. But basically, what the sickness effect will do is your health will decrease over the course of 3 minutes by 10%. You will also become weaker to all of the status effects by 10%. So that's venom, bleed, fracture, toxin, paralysis. I'm trying to remember them all. There's a lot. And after the 3 minutes, your health will no longer drain. So, you'll lose 10% of your health, and it will slowly recover with the classic 20% reduced healing rate. Because this is still poison. It's still poison, but this is incredibly changed. But you still have that 20% reduced healing rate, and your health will go up slowly after the 3 minutes passed. However, all other effects last for another minute and a half once the time has passed. You gain immunity. So basically, stage 1, 2, and 3 effects all apply at once for a minute and a half after the 3 minutes of your health decrease. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So basically, the way it works is you'll enter stage 1, those effects will clear, then you'll have stage 2's effects, that will clear. When you get into stage 3, you basically have the stage 3 effects, which I just talked about, so 10% weaker status effects, health draining by 10% over 3 minutes, and 20% reduced healing rate. Once that has all passed, you then get the other effects, and they last all of the effects will last for 90 seconds after. And then once that time has passed, you get immunity to the effect applying again for 5 minutes, which means you can bite the Metri for 5 minutes and be perfectly fine. And it's not that one individual, it's all Metris. So hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, that's kind of my idea for how poison could work in Path of Titans, and it may seem broken initially, but once you get all the effects and everything, you get a good 5 minutes of immunity. And it does take 5 minutes to fully apply everything, which a lot of people, they only hunt when they're starving, which is a bit stupid, but they probably won't have that 5 minutes. And it only lasts for 90 seconds after. So that's 5 minutes of it all applying and then 90 seconds after. And on top of that, you get multiple ways to heal it. You get the healing water and your hunger in stage 1. Stage 2, you get the healing water and moving away. Actually, the moving away thing's in all stages. Because stage 3, no heal, can't heal it off unless you move away. But, you know, that move away thing, that's in every stage. And then after that, you get 5 minutes of immunity, which is longer than the immunity you get from Bone Break or Fracture. Which means they can use your head attacks on you again with no risk, like I said. And I think this idea I came up with adds more of a realistic aspect to how poison works in the real world, because I did research this, and poison in the real world basically will like deteriorate your body over time. Now most poison, well, not most, but a lot of poisons are fatal, they'll kill you. But God, get your words out, Orca. I felt like that if killing you after a certain amount of time, that kind of sucked and would be very imbalanced because you just get bitten once, sit there and wait, and that would be it. It would be boring. So it doesn't do that. But it's more realistic, and it damages your body over time, only in the last stage when you're, like, fully poisoned. And I know a lot of you will be saying this in the comments that that Path of Titans is not a realistic game. I know, hands in the air. Path of Titans is not realistic, I know, but this could still be added as a cool little, I don't know, a way to make the game a bit more realistic, you know? And, you know, they could even have, like, so you know how, like, when you venomed, you get the weird green skin, it's really weird. They could do something like that, but more like, actually no, a better example would be, you know how Bone Break, you get that custom animation when your leg is snapped, you get that custom animation where you're limping. They could have something like that, but where it looks like you're just putting in more effort when you walk. I think that could be pretty cool. And I also wanted to give some more uses for parts of the environment. This isn't part of the main video. Well, it is, but it's not part of the main effect. So obviously the use for the healing water that I mentioned, but something I didn't mention is berry bushes with purple berries. This was an idea I had, but didn't want to quite fit in with the actual effect. But basically, these would be normal bushes, but have purple berries instead of red. And they act the same way as normal ones, except they apply the new poison that I've come up with. And I know some of you will say that this is unfair, Pandura players, and my response for that is, yes it is. Sadly, Pandura's lacking a lot of modern map features, but freshwater is more abundant, because also I forgot to mention this. I really should have mentioned this. During stage 1, if you keep your thirst above 75%, you also heal it, so it's hunger and thirst. I forgot about that. I added it in later, but yes. So if you keep your thirst up as well, you know. And on Pandura, there's a lot of fresh water. That's mainly why that part's there, because if you can heal it off in stage 1, you'll be fine. So a lot of fresh water will basically be good, because it's much more abundant on that. So, you know, your water will be high enough to heal it off during stage 1. Should be pretty easy. But this could also lead to some new diets and resistances, which give new food sources, and a bit more of a survival challenge. So, like, if you're starving, are you going to risk eating a poison berry bush? Like, if you're a starving Eotrike or Camptor, you're going to risk eating that poison berry bush? If you're not careful, you might accidentally do it without wanting to. Like, if you just, ooh, berry bush, and then don't look at the color of the berries, you know, you might accidentally do that. And this isn't just a wild idea I've come up with, by the way. There is a berry bush in creator mode that does give poison, the exact same one Metri can give or apply. Now I know I said at the start Metri is like the only way to get it is from Metri, but this berry bush does exist. I don't know if it's modern or not, but it does exist. It doesn't spawn naturally, so you won't go looking around finding for any, but it does exist. It's real. Anyway, that is my idea or suggestion, you could say, for poison. And in order to make it more useful when it does currently, you know, I think this does make it more useful. But again, I will admit this is probably the most complicated effect I've ever come up with. And if it was added, it would be the most complicated one in the game. It probably won't be changed to be anything like this. I mean, hell, it probably won't even be changed at all. And that's fine. Because guess what? This is all for fun. And speaking of fun, I want to see your guys' ideas in the comments down there. I've never done this before, but down there. So comment down there on if you like my ideas for poison, or if you have any ideas of your own that I never came up with. But anyway, feel free to type down there, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, make sure to like, and subscribe. Also, check the description below, again down there, where there will be a link to my Discord. Feel free to come join. Anyway, have a wonderful day, take care, and goodbye.